as you can see, this first page is great because, like I said, it basically shows you what's going on here. It gives a really good overview of the system, and it breaks it down into what you need to understand. Delegate stakes, mint HTT tokens, and then you can redeem the HTT tokens 1-for-1 with HEX at the end of the stake. So like this is a very easy breakdown. So here we go. We're on the actuator site in the dashboard. And now let me repeat the question I asked 20 minutes ago, which is what are we looking at here at the dashboard?
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Starting point for what you're looking at. And it's this concept called HTT, or hex time token. So I'm going to assume we have some folks that are brand new here. So I want to just explain what a hex time token is. And then in that center right area, you see the three current HTTs, HTT 3000, 5000, and 7000. They have the red icon and they have the number in there representing the hex day, not days from today, the hex day on which the HTTs will be redeemed 1-for-1, protocol guaranteed, with a hex. So it's an HTT is a claim check on a hex on the redemption day. So it's something that you buy at a discount to hex today, and then you hold it until the redemption day, and then you get a whole hex back, or any multiple, right? You could buy 1,000 HTTs today at a fraction of what you'd pay for a hex, hold it for the required amount of time, and then you get 1,000 hex. So it's a claim check on a hex. That's what an HTT is. And there's 3 different redemption days, 3,000, 5,000, and 7,000, which Max is showing. So let's focus on 3,000 for a second, because these 3 lines are critical.
Before you jump in there, I just wanted to point out something that confused me, because I was like, you can't make a 7,000 day hex stake. They only go to 5,555. Well, these are the total days in hex, right?
It's the hex day.
So, yeah, and if you look up at the top of the screen, we're on day 1940. That was a good year. Anyways, 1940. So that's why you can go to 7,000, is because it's still basically pretty close to the 5,555. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out because that was something that I didn't understand when I first came here.
Super. Another way to really be precise about it is if you go to the opposite end of that line, it shows you the exact day, the date, and the amount of years that that represents. So HTT 3000, that one has a redemption day of February 18th, 2028, which is 2.9 years from now. So we give it to you in both forms because that date is hex day 3000.
Yeah, see, I didn't even read the whole line. I just had to ask you guys about it.
So that's why
it's on both places. So thank you for pointing that out.
Right. You can see exactly what the duration to that maturity is and what day it actually occurs on. So now you know when, if you have an HTT 7000 on that day, January 31st of 39, you're going to get a hex from it. You redeem it for a hex. That's how this works. And then the graph below, actually, before we go to the graph, notice there's 3 sets of percentages in that line we were looking at. Sorry there, Max. Let's go back to the lines.
Oh, these ones right here.
Yeah. Notice you have 3 sets of percentages.
Yep.
The first one is the discount to hex. So it's showing you right now in the marketplace, an HTT 3000 comes at a 31.3% discount to a hex. So and what that equates to is, if you look at the last column over there that says total return, all the way on the far right, that one, if you get a 31% discount and then you hold it to the redemption day, that represents a 45.4% total return over that horizon period. And that's over the whole horizon period, in this case, 2.9 years. And then the middle column, that translates to a 15.6 annualized return. And we use the APR there, and we use the same formula for this that the hex.com uses for staking, so that it's an apples to apples comparison.
Now, does the 31% discount, does that translate to getting more T-shares?
Not more T-shares.
Okay.
No, this is discounted hex. The T shares are what you can choose to do as another strategy where you create an HSI, delegate it, and then extract your HTTs from it for other strategies. But I don't want to confuse everyone just yet. All this is discounted HEX. And so you buy it and you can hold it. And as time goes on, all these HTTs over time will work from a discount back up towards 1 because they are 1 HEX on their redemption day. So now might be a good time to go over to the right edge of the chart at the bottom there, the yellow, the blue, and the green below.
Oh, these ones right here.
Yeah, this is the price history of those HTTs measured in terms of HEX. So notice the orange line up there at 1 is 1 HEX because 1 HEX is always 1 HEX. Now, what is the price of HTT 3000 today measured in HEX? Well, if you hover for a minute over the very right-hand dot on the yellow curve, now you should see what that number is. It's I can't even read it. Can you read it?
Yes, it says 0.687.
There you go.
The number, so about 0.69%.
So you're paying today, right now, if you were to go buy on Pateus or PulseX or whatever you're doing, PulseSwap.io, you would get that price. You would have to pay 0.687 of a HEX to buy one HTT 3000. And then if you held that all the way until the 2.9 year point was over, you could redeem it for a full HEX. So you're getting the pickup from 0.68 to 1.
And then here's
so that's your price, which is a complement of the discount up there. And you can see what that turns into as you just hold it. Now, there's some interesting strategies that just flow out of understanding this much. One, you can just buy and hold HTTs and you're getting discounted HEX in your portfolio, and it's growing over time to give you the full amount of HEX that your HTTs will provide you at redemption day. So you can just buy and hold a set of HTTs, buy some 3000s, some 5000s, and some 7000s, and you've got guaranteed fixed rate return in HEX terms, which is good. There's no variability. So for example, when the OA did the big staking event, a month ago or whatever, the returns of all of your stakes went down, and so did the pooled stakes and all the rest of that stuff, because that's dependent on the action of others. But the HTT yields you were getting were completely unaffected. If you bought an HTT the day before that occurred, you didn't care, because if you locked in a 20% yield, your yield didn't go down because it was based on the discount you bought it at, and you're just going to hold it and obtain your full return without regard to what anybody else is doing. So it's a different product in the sense of how your yield is earned. And that's nice, because having different products is really good to give you some options, right? So the simplest strategy for someone brand new to this is to try to wrap your head around this idea of discounted HEX and a claim check on an actual HEX on the redemption day. But unlike other types of staking, this is always liquid. If you needed to sell something, you can come back and sell HTTs to the marketplace. Now, you bear some market risk because discounts could rise or they could fall. And that too becomes something that if you're a trader, you can speculate on that. So buy when the discount or when the APR is high, and that's a good strategy. And then if you wanted and the APR got real low, that means you accelerated the amount of HEX you've earned. You could choose to sell the HTT back into a bunch more HEX.